What is going on, guys? The NFL regular season schedule consists of only 16 games, so it's natural to panic anytime your team loses. But folks, it's still early in the season. The last two Super Bowl champions all started awfully slow. I don't know if you remember, the 2018 New England Patriots were 1-2, while the 2019 Kansas City Chiefs were only 5-3 at the midway point. So if your team has started out slow, don't give up hope just yet. Several 1-2 and 0-3 clubs have enough talent to turn it around. Here are 8 teams who are capable of overcoming a slow start. Number 8, Atlanta Falcons. Yeah, Dan Quinn and his coaching staff won't be here much longer. It's only a matter of time until they get fired. The Falcons sit at 0-3, following miserable back-to-back losses and saw them blow double-digit leads in the fourth quarter. This defense can't stop a nosebleed. And although the offense keeps racking up the points, they simply can't close games out. Reminds you of a certain Super Bowl some years ago. So why do we have the Falcons on this list, when they've proven time and time again that they lack the it factor? Well, I mean, let's not forget this team won 6 of its final 8 games just a year ago, following a horrendous 1-7 start. And that included big-time upsets on the road against the New Orleans Saints and San Francisco 49ers. And as atrocious as the defense is, the Falcons are still capable of going toe-to-toe with any team in a shootout. Matt Ryan, Julio Jones, Calvin Ridley, Hayden Hurst, and Todd Gurley have formed an explosive offensive machine, and that's not going to change. The Falcons can hang with anybody in the NFC South. None of them feature a top-tier defense right now. And Atlanta has a very winnable slate of games coming up from week 5 to 9. Carolina, Minnesota, Detroit, Carolina again, and Denver. If they can take 4 of those games, the Falcons will be right back in the playoff race. Yes, this team has a knack for letting everybody down, but don't completely rule them out just yet. Wait a couple more weeks at least. Number 7, Minnesota Vikings. That's a big yikes. Through the first 3 weeks of the season, the Vikings ranked a mere 18th in scoring offense and a horrific 31st in scoring defense, allowing 34 points per game. But unlike the Falcons, the Vikings have a fairly decent track record under head coach Mike Zimmer. They haven't had a losing season under him since 2014. They've made the playoffs in 2 of the past 3 years. Not to mention that unlike Dan Quinn in Atlanta, Zimmer's defenses are traditionally above average to elite. There is time to fix this younger rebuilding unit. Kirk Cousins isn't playing great by any means, but he's giving his team a chance to win. Adam Thielen, Justin Jefferson, and Dalvin Cook give him a grade A supporting cast to work around. So try not to worry too much about that offense. Their upcoming schedule doesn't look great. They play at Houston in week 4, followed by a road tilt against Russell Wilson and the Seattle Seahawks. And the Seahawks defense has actually been one of the absolute worst in the league, despite their undefeated record. So who knows? Maybe the Vikings will find a way to escape CenturyLink Field with a thrilling shootout victory that puts them at 2-3 on the season. The Vikings aren't going to catch Green Bay or Chicago in the NFC North, but there are 3 wildcard spots up for grabs. They have more than enough talent to catch fire and go on a bit of a run here. The offense is going to put up the points. If that defense can go from horrible to half decent, Minnesota can very well begin a midseason turnaround. Stay tuned. Number 6, Houston Texans. Bill O'Brien said the Texans aren't panicking after a brutal 0-3 start. And you know what? The man has a good point here. I mean, a lot of teams would go 0-3 if they opened up the season with a road game against Kansas City, followed by a home tilt with the Baltimore Ravens, followed by a visit to Pittsburgh. Those are arguably the top 3 teams in the AFC, with great balance on both sides of the ball. Secondly, you may recall that Houston was also 0-3 2 years ago. They wound up winning 11 of their final 13 games to claim the AFC South division crown. So who says they can't do it again? The defense is awful. The offensive line is a train wreck. Deshaun Watson's skill position players aren't producing. But guess what? The Texans still have one of the game's top quarterbacks. He's used to carrying an extremely flawed team with little help around him. Yes, these Texans sit 3 games behind the undefeated Tennessee Titans in the AFC South. But hey, a season series sweep would help Houston gain ground. We aren't saying that the Texans are going to turn it around and make the playoffs, but we just think it's still a bit too early to count them out. As long as Watson is lining up under center, you shouldn't sleep on these guys. They can still turn this around. Number 5, Philadelphia Eagles. Man, the Eagles are in unfamiliar territory under head coach Doug Peterson. Up until 2020, they had never started 0-2 under his guidance. Now they find themselves 0-2-1 after escaping with a tie against the Joe Burrow-led Cincinnati Bengals. Yes, the Eagles should feel lucky that they aren't 0-3. That's how bad it is. Carson Wentz has regressed mightily, but he can't take all the blame. The Eagles' offensive line, once a massive strength, has been a huge letdown so far. The secondary is still pathetic despite the addition of star cornerback Darius Slay. Key skill position players are banged up, and the ones who are healthy aren't doing much. We aren't that confident in Philly's ability to turn around and go on a hot streak. But they do play in the putrid NFC East, which means it might just take 7 wins, or even 6, who knows, to win the division. As usual, it'll be a 2-way horse race between the Eagles and Dallas Cowboys, who are off to a slow start of their own. So Eagles fans, don't panic until the Cowboys start to run away with the NFC East. Your team is still very much in this. Number 4, Los Angeles Chargers. A couple more bounces and these Chargers would be 3-0. Of course, we're all used to the Chargers losing close games that go down to the wire. But it's a bit different this time around. They aren't losing because of special teams gaffes, or late game fumbles, and costly interceptions by Phillip Rivers. They're losing because rookie Justin Herbert is, well, in the early stages of his NFL career. The kid is still adjusting to life as a professional, and yet he was oh so close to taking down Patrick Mahomes in a shootout, and he nearly led his team to a thrilling comeback victory over Carolina. Herbert has been better than anybody could have expected in the early going. The Chargers' run game is still productive, and stud wideouts Keenan Allen and Mike Williams are making the big plays with their new quarterback. The defense has been a force thus far. That unit gave Mahomes so many problems in week 2, so you know they can go toe-to-toe with anybody. Joey Bosa and Casey Hayward are always going to give this team a chance to win, but it all comes down to Herbert, who should only get better from here. If not, the Chargers can always turn back to Tyrod Taylor. But again, with so many skill position players and a top-tier defense, the Chargers are more than capable of overcoming their slow 1-2 start and making a push for the playoffs. Number 3, Detroit Lions. The Lions blew double-digit leads in week 1 and 2. But finally, Matt Patricia's group found a way to come through in crunch time this week. The defense, for the most part, was incredible against Kyler Murray and the explosive Arizona offense in week 3. They picked off the early season MVP candidate 3 times, and Matt Stafford was excellent with a 270-yard, 2-touchdown effort. Kenny Golladay led the way with 6 receptions for 57 yards and 1 touchdown. That Detroit offense is now back at full strength with him. The defense is still a question mark, but it's hard to not be inspired by that gutsy performance against Murray and company on the road. And as long as they have Stafford and Golladay leading the offense, these Lions can win any game. Detroit's going to have a tough time gaining ground on the Bears and Packers in this division, especially considering those two clubs own the early head-to-head tiebreaker over Patricia's club. But a wildcard spot is not out of the question. 3 difficult games are already out of the way. And from week 6 to 12, the Lions have a very manageable schedule at Jacksonville, Atlanta, Indianapolis, Minnesota, Washington, Carolina, and Houston. If Detroit can win at least 5 of those 7 games, they'll be right back in business. And hey, 3 of their final 4 games are at home. In short, it's way too early for Lions fans to throw in the towel for the season. Number 2, Dallas Cowboys. Dallas fans are used to coulda, shoulda, woulda, but this team could easily be 3-0. Losing 1-score games on the road to the Rams and Seahawks is nothing to be ashamed of. Those were 2 brutally tough games that are now out of the way. A friendly reminder that Dallas plays in the laughable NFC East, and they haven't even played a division rival yet. Dallas now has 3 straight home games against Cleveland, the New York Giants, and Arizona. A road game against Washington follows. At worst, the Cowboys will probably go 3-1 there. The problem's on defense, especially in the secondary, and on offense, and the offensive line are great cause for concern. But Dak Prescott has been phenomenal thus far. His skill position guys, especially CeeDee Lamb and Ezekiel Elliott, remain as good as ever. The Cowboys are racking up the points, and as the schedule eases, eventually the opponents won't be able to keep up. And like we said in the Eagles entry, it might only take 6 or 7 wins to take the division. Put it this way, if the Cowboys sweep Philly in the season series, the division is probably theirs. And with the way the Eagles have looked thus far, that seems very doable. So don't worry just yet, Cowboys fans. I mean, remember, this team is accustomed to their slow starts. They lost their season openers in 2014, 2016, and 2018, and went on to win the NFC East each time. And guess what? It's an even year. So if history is an indicator of anything, that means the Cowboys have the division locked up. Number 1, New Orleans Saints. They may not be 0-3, but no team has disappointed us more thus far than the Saints. They weren't even that great in their Week 1 home victory against Tom Brady and the Buccaneers. They just committed less stupid penalties and turnovers that game. Fast forward 2 weeks later, and the Saints find themselves 1-2. The offense obviously missed Michael Thomas in their losses to the Raiders and Packers, but that's not the main cause for concern. It's the defense. Even though the Saints haven't given up all that many yards on defense, they ranked 27th in scoring, having allowed 31.3 points per game. And the schedule doesn't get much easier for that unit. They still have to face the likes of Matthew Stafford, Matt Ryan twice, Tom Brady once more, Jimmy Garoppolo, Patrick Mahomes, Kirk Cousins, and Nick Foles. And we'd argue all of them are better than Derek Carr, who absolutely lit up the Saints defense in week 2. But now that our concerns are out of the way, here's the main thing. These Saints still have one of the most talented rosters in the league, led by Drew Brees and Alvin Kamara. And they have one of the best coaches in Sean Payton. The defense can't be this bad every week, and Michael Thomas' return will surely help the offense. The Bucs may sit atop top the division standings. But they also got to play the rebuilding Panthers and helpless Broncos in week 2 and 3. The Saints haven't had any easy opponents yet, so it's probably only a matter of time before they regain the lead in the division. The Saints will be fine. They tend to start sluggish before picking it up in the second half. So relax, New Orleans. All will be fine. Which NFL team do you think is most likely to overcome their slow start? Join me in the comment section below. Make sure to follow myself and TPS on social media. We post great content all the time. YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, we're on everything. Go find us, go subscribe, go like, go do all that stuff, because we really appreciate it, and we really appreciate you. You're a good person, no matter what you think. Subscribe to TPS. We post videos every day. And like this video. I don't know if I said that already, but I'm going to say it again, because why not? Of course, thank you so much for watching. I'm Jason Biondo. I'll see you next time.
My knee.